Welcome back. You got Will and Iman here from the Block Runner MetaZone, roving Inscribe, and today we got a big update. Parent-child inscriptions has been merged with the Ord wallet.
Sure has. Also,
Sounds, now that I say it out loud, sounds extremely boring.
boring.
But extremely important.
Yeah, it's just anytime anything merges, right, on any kind of massively adopted protocol or standard,
Yeah.
it's a big deal, right? Because this means like shift is in the air. So what exactly is shifting, and then what, I guess, should the everyday common person, user, Web3 citizen expect as a result of this, right?
Yeah. So, okay, so let's talk about what it is exactly. So we have a couple of tweets, Leonidas, Trevor, they try to break this down. And
this has been something in discussions. If you've been attending these like Twitter space calls, ever since Ordinals has really popped off, I remember all the way back in March and February, this was like part of the discussion, right?
Yeah.
It's always about, how do we add more enhancements and, new optimizations to this Ordinal standard, right? So we're not just stuck in this very limited, creative capacity. So So here we are. It's finally been merged and pushed through. So what is it, dude? Explain it. Break it down for us.
All right. So with the pull request that has merged into the Ordinals Protocol, Masters branch an hour ago, it introduced a standard for creating parent-child relationship between inscriptions. The way it works is if you own an inscription, you have the ability to create children inscriptions under it, thus making it the parent of those inscriptions. You do this by passing the SAT of the parent inscription along with the child inscription creation transaction.
So there's some transmission here happening here, some handing over of something of value.
Right. This establishes a trustless relationship that lives on-chain that can be viewed by anyone. So basically, you have to own the parent inscription, which makes sense.
Let's pretend we're dealing with bitmaps here, right?
Right. So you own your bitmap, and you want parcels, or you want to inscribe any child that you can come up with under your bitmap, right? So you can do that as long as...
Why would you want to do that in the first place? Like, what's an example of a child inscription that...
A parcel.
Just because it has an association or tie to the origin inscription or the origin asset, the master asset, which is the actual bitmap itself.
Correct.
Because it is the block, right? And it's got so much potential new value within it.
Yeah.
You could spin off like hundreds of variants of derivative, I guess, inscription products as a result from it, right?
Correct.
Okay, so that is it. Well, why couldn't we just... Can that still be done without this parent-child relationship? Couldn't you still...
I mean, of course, it can be done, but it's better to always use the standards. Just because that's what's being built on top of.
Right, and I guess, so what is the situation outside of a parent-child, like, tied together format or standard, right? Now we depend more on indexers to, I guess, make these ties? Because now this is all on-chain linked, right?
No, so the structure, and to be clear, this inscription standard, like the way the inscription looks, it's not very clear, because if you go look at the actual code, it's not commented. You have to be a developer to read and understand and comprehend what exactly is technically happening. Yeah. And it's, like I said, it's not clear like what this inscription looks like. But most importantly, the biggest line here is that you do this by passing the SAT of the parent inscription along with the child inscription creation transaction.
Gotcha.
So part of creating a child, you have to use some sort of data from the parent inscription. And so that information isn't enough, because I know that you have bitmaps. I can just inscribe children based off of knowing that you have a bitmap. So there's a check embedded within this code that isn't fully developed according to what we've understood from Benny from Track. So there's that check really isn't there. So that means I could just create children off of anybody's bitmap.
Interesting.
But the intention here in this pull request is that you have to own the parent, and if you own the parent, you can create the children. Yeah. All I'm saying is the check to make sure that you own it isn't fully fleshed out in the code yet.
Got you. So, So why do you think that wasn't considered in part of this pull request? Just 'cause
I don't know. I feel like this is like, shooting from the hips a little bit rather than, because it's not even documented.
Yeah.
Did you know that we're more than just a YouTube channel? We also built Inscribe, the first inscription platform built from the ground up for the metaverse on Bitcoin. Connect your bitmap ordinals and use our tools to bring your community into the virtual realm. Support us by joining the movement at mscribe.io. Like, comment, and subscribe for the latest alpha. Back to the video.
Okay.
So yeah. So what can you do with something like this? So he gives an examples like, you remember those cool picture projects that we've seen for the last 3 or 4 years? Now coming to ordinals.
To Bitcoin, yeah.
Yeah. So now you can create a collection that is tied to a parent inscription.
Correct.
You create a collection of or children of that parent in the form of a collection. They're all tied to that one parent. Then you can confirm that there will never be new pictures being generated anymore if you send that parent to a burn wallet. So effectively putting an open and closed bracket on a collection.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Which does exactly what? It just gives that
assurance.
It adds the innate properties of what everything that everybody loves and adores from blockchain to art.
Correct.
Right. Which is, I guess, on-chain. They're labeling it as on-chain provenance, right?
That's right. That's right.
Or just provenance in general. So it's like enabling these blockchains to become the ultimate, I guess, declaration of
proof,
artistic value or artistic legitimacy.
Yeah.
Which is of course interesting when you're dealing in the JPEG art market and stuff. You're always looking for new verticals to introduce. It's like new value.
Yeah.
Propositions, I guess. So this is something new, right? That didn't exist on the Ethereum side.
Correct. Oh yeah, this is 100% new.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I think it was Trevor in this next tweet. He says something about this is not happening on Ethereum, or was it Leonidas?
I mean, somebody said it somewhere. I mean, of course, that's probably like one of the biggest takeaways is like, okay, what is the big deal behind this? What is the motivation for it? And as far as I can interpret and tell, it's because you're adding a whole new blockchain layer and component of like value security to your digital art assets.
So Trevor here, he says one interesting thing you can do with this that can't be done with Ethereum is that the creator can choose to sell or share the parent inscription Satoshi, allowing other people to add this to the same collection. So I verified this with Benny. He says that this isn't technically correct according to the code. So we'll have to take this with a grain of salt.
We're definitely gonna always trust in Benny, dude.
Oh yeah,
in Benny we trust for sure. So we need Benny to come in and really chime in on the validity of everything that's been. Yeah, because this isn't like an easy thing to interpret because they don't have any like human readable docs.
Yeah.
Right?
Funny you mentioned Benny. Here he is if I'm not mistaken, the below means inscription services must own a collection's parent in order to allow for creating a new children. And so basically, here's the implication of this.
Yeah. Let's get outside the realm of just, wanting to create art collections. Like how can this create more friction or problems for
100%.
Like any other platform looking to,
to contribute.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for example, you own a bitmap and you say, let's assume you have like 3,000 transactions on your bitmap, right? Something that's a lot.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I got some of those.
This structure means that if you wanted to sell your parcels, you'd have to inscribe all of them to yourself.
Yeah.
Which is not a big deal, right? Until you actually go into inscribe them and you're looking at a $3,000 to $6,000 bill
today
with cheap inscription fees just to inscribe all 3,000 to your wallet and then potentially sell them.
Potentially. It's not a guarantee.
Yeah, potentially.
But of course, we want to unlock that mechanistic ability to a bitmap owner, right? It is an asset that can be leveraged, I guess, to create new value, right? And it can be a community onboarding mechanism, right? So in order to even like get to past the first phase is you're going to have to parcel out your districts, right?
Correct.
So yeah, it'd be ideal if, I've done such a good job of attracting a community you know, if you want to be part of my community, you can inscribe your own parcel from my bitmap. Right. That is the ideal scenario.
Correct.
We want to happen.
Yeah. So we've been tossing around a design, but so this was, and we confirmed this design with Benny, by the way. This design where you basically connect your bitmap to a service provider like Inscribe or bitmap.land or whoever is participating. You essentially go to the website, connect your bitmap, and you activate your bitmap. Right. So what that would do is essentially it makes an announcement that says that there's a quote unquote active bitmap. Now anybody can come into that website, bitmap.land, inscribe wherever that it's activated, come in and you can inscribe the parcels there because you want to become part of that community. You notice something valuable in a transaction in a parcel that you want to own. Whatever it is, whatever incentive there is for you to inscribe that parcel, the point is that you could go to that website and inscribe that parcel directly to your wallet. Yeah. And so the owner of the bitmap could say every parcel is $10 and, just pay the $10, you get your parcel. Or the bitmap owner could decide to do it completely for free. Just pay the inscription fee and you get your parcel. Yeah. However, with this new update, you cannot do that. Now the bitmap owner has to inscribe all the parcels to themselves and then potentially sell them or give them out or whatever it is that you want to do.
I see. So that's a huge barrier, right?
Yeah, this is...
As of right now, no real workaround to this, right? As of this very second.
It seems not for now. I mean, this is only like 12 hours old.
Correct. Yeah. But this has been something that's been discussed, I guess, probably like in the GitHub, right? Most likely. This is how these things get merged. It doesn't just happen overnight.
Correct.
This has been a long discussion, I'm sure.
And so the first quote-unquote parent-child inscription happened by Danny on
On-Chain Monkeys?
On-Chain Monkeys, yeah.
Yeah. I remember these conversations.
And this happened in February 2023.
Something like that, yeah. Yeah. So this has been in the works. So, I mean, this is going to be interesting, I guess, because people are starting to see potential flaws, I guess, in this design, even though the utility of it sounds...
Yeah,
pretty big.
If you're one of the community members who think that PFP projects on Bitcoin is like the ultimate outcome of ordinals, right, then this is perfect. Yeah. But there's other use cases for ordinals, such as bitmap, that this doesn't really.
So then, what's the option for those developers, builders who want to create some other value outside of the realm of like art, the art industry? What's their option?
The one option is to push back on the design and to make an update to enable such functionality so that owners of bitmaps, for example, don't have to spend $3,000 to $6,000 to inscribe all the parcels to themselves.
Okay. Or
we don't use it. Or we don't use it. Yeah. We don't use the standard.
It's interesting. So what happens when you don't use like standards, I guess, nothing really,
Nothing happens.
You're still leveraging, like, everything's still ordinal.
Everything's still ordinal, correct. Yeah. The thing that you lose is that there's a community that is building towards on top of this foundation, and if you deviate from the foundation, you're basically creating a new foundation, and so you're just has a competing foundations now. Okay, and it might be necessary for something like bitmap. I mean, bitmap's the biggest Ordinals project right now, has the most highest upside in terms of like ability for developers to build on top of bitmaps.
Yeah, and
you can't build on top of PFP projects. You just can't do it.
At least not much. You can't build too much, but like the grade of like functionality and robustness threshold increases dramatically once you kind of like traverse past like the 2D JPEG space into the 3D metaverse space. Right? Correct. Yeah. So there are some additional considerations, I guess, and a lot of it like is this community of bitmap and the metaverse isn't really being heard much from the core community of the JPEG militia, whatever you want to call them, right?
The JPEG cartel,
whatever we want to call them, the art cartel, whatever. Yeah, the fucking picture project lads. Yeah, right. They're the ones more largely pushing like these next iterations of improvements. Right. So I mean that is an issue for the developers who actually want to like also build on top and contribute to the ecosystem, but are limited to the scope of how do we make these pictures better? Yeah. Right? Like, that is an issue, right? So I think something that we all need to be aware of and cognizant of, right?
Yeah.
If we want to really mature this ecosystem further.
Yeah, I feel like if there isn't an update here, we're going to see a fractionalization of foundations
Of ordinals?
Yeah.
Like just the ordinals ecosystem? Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, the foundation could potentially be fractionalized here, and we have competing foundations.
Interesting. Well,
there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, it's fine. It is just day one, right? So people are going to create creative, derivative solutions to these problems, no matter what. If there is a market and a demand for these things, like you still want to be intertwined to whatever the standard protocols are, but you need some additional functionality, then you kind of like spin up like a, some kind of tangent, similar to like what TAP did,
Yeah.
Still tied into the origin BRC20 standard, right? Because we know there's a network effect there, and you don't want to disturb that, but you still want to bring in this new functionality, right? So you create this derivative, tangent that's still tied to the original standards, right?
Yeah.
This could 100% happen again for bitmaps or whatever other ecosystem that needs,
All that needs to be updated is the code, right? Just update the code to enable this functionality, and everybody is fine.
But it's not always that simple, right? It's not like Domo is going to update the BRC20 standard to enable different functionalities.
But Casey made an update here. He made a pull request, so Casey can make that change.
I understood, but
so it's not like we're asking Domo to come back from his cave and do something.
No, not Domo. You just use that as a representation. Like maybe Casey doesn't want to deviate, right?
Yeah. So there's consequences, I guess.
Yeah, but they'll be figured out no matter what. Is what I'm saying.
Well, let's hope so.
Let's hope so. So there's something else too, right? Speaking of Casey, there's not just this parent-child. Oh, but a shout-out Axie made for this.
Oh, yeah. This
great immediate interpretations of what can potentially be unlocked and how this can be applied for bitmaps, right?
Yeah. So as they've designed here, bitmap, parcels, non-arbitrary tokens, and whatever project that you have, coffee shop, whatever, right? And so here, I would only make a small modification, is that you could also have non-arbitrary tokens, be children to your parcels.
Yeah, you can have children of children, right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, that's kind of like the craziness. Like this can get it very complex very quickly, and the very, you can establish full-blown hierarchy trees within,
yes, a
single framework, which is nice.
Which is cool. Yeah,
very good. This is a big improvement, but yeah. It's only day one, right? So we're going to have to wait months for this to kind of like be utilized and understood by developers, and we're going to see what comes as a result.
Yeah. So in other news, Casey, he says, I opened a PR with a proposal for adding metadata to inscriptions. It is intentionally simple, supporting only plain text key value pairs. Plain text key value pairs covers the vast majority of use cases, avoids adding dependency on a serialization format like JSON, and is human readable and is easy to display without a schema. So what sort of types of projects need metadata, Iman?
Metaverse ones?
And picture projects.
Yeah, I guess anything that has any kind of like dynamic ability, like anything that's dynamic, right?
Well, yeah, what I'm alluding to is that a lot of these updates really fit just perfectly with this like picture updates. Well,
yeah, I mean, they want to, again, evolve the space forward because, even in the traditional NFT realm over there on Ethereum, there's advancements, believe it or not, happening in like the JPEG arena. Like they're making these things dynamic that now, because of things like Chainlink and whatnot, and then metadata, like, the ability to change that and have oracles interpret that and change the art in real time as a response to it. Like these are new things.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's interesting. So we have to figure out how to enable this on Bitcoin.
Oof. That's tough.
Well, this is like the very groundwork primitive to at least even give us a shot. Right?
Yeah. At least this gives us a framework for like actual metadata attributes for your inscription,
which is very important.
Oh yeah. 100%.
Not just for pictures, but for a lot of things.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
There's
a lot happening, in other words.
Yeah, I think we need to start participating in these conversations because
I guess so, dude.
There's a lot of things that could be better that are not obvious to these folks, I guess.
Yeah, I just said earlier, I guess like the bitmap community is largely unheard, probably for a reason, because I don't think anybody's really like out there
evangelizing,
championing the needs and the concerns of this ecosystem.
Yeah.
to the people actually pushing the improvements.
The cartels here.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are you implying that we got to take
Once
control
again?
here once again?
It feels like early Decentraland all over again, dude. It's like,
God
oh,
damn
somebody's
it.
got to fucking run this DAO, remember?
Yeah.
It's like, I guess it's got to be us. It feels eerily similar.
It does.
But it doesn't have to be us. It could be all of us. We need to first have these discussions among the bitmap community, and then we need to bring them as a collective to.
Yeah.
Because these are public forums, right? This isn't like some exclusive email club or something. Like we could all participate, right?
Yeah, I agree.
All right, let's do it.
All right. So if you guys agree with us or disagree, let us know in the comment section below. There's definitely a lot that's happening here.
There is a lot happening.
It's not obvious what's happening here, other than like these descriptions of what is happening in the code. The code is what matters.
Right, yeah, and to find out like the depths of like what's actually happening, it's difficult, right? It's a due diligence process going beyond what the top influencers are telling you in like 3 lines.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, you actually got to go into the GitHub.
Yes.
And find a developer down the street, like bring him in, dude. It's like, can you read this for me? Like, let me know what's going on. Like, so it's tough, right? So we're all in the same boat, so we need to share our findings with one another. But yeah, there's a lot happening, dude. This is why this space is so interesting. Yeah. It's constantly evolving. It's never boring.
Yeah.
And dude, fuck yeah, dude. Let's go Ordinals, dude. It's great.
All right. On that note, like I said, let us know in the comment section below what do you think. Definitely hit us up on Twitter if you agree with us. And if we have to fractionalize this, it might be necessary.
God damn. All right.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. So, all right. That's it for us. Thank you for watching. Appreciate it. We'll catch you in the next video.
Peace.